and we will make a start. Fabulous. Technology. Yeah. Facebook seemed to be not finding the file, but when I went in via Zoom, it was there. So you've got it. So that's good. So tonight we're exploring, it's quite intriguing, how to use just 3 sentences to help create change for someone. And it's the kind of change that it doesn't shout, but it kind of nudges, it softens, and it hints and whispers at a new way forward. It's not necessarily a clever sentences, but they're more catalytic. And when they land, when you get it right, they can really be quite powerful and land quite deep. And we're going to break it down one by one to practice each in the breakout rooms and then bring it all together. So we're looking at 3 sentences. The first sentence comes about from pace or pacing. Um, Pacing is it's like mirroring. It's that kind of in counseling they call it active listening. Um, but mirroring someone's belief um, in a way, or their stuckness, or whatever their issue is, in a way that says, "I've heard you." Doesn't have to be much of a sentence, um, just enough that they go, "Yeah, this person gets where I'm at." One of the easiest ways to do that is actually just to feed them back the crunch line of where they're at as they've said it, maybe change one word too. So you're parroting a little bit. You don't want to parrot all the way because it just sounds really weird. However, if you're listening and somebody says something along the lines of, "Oh, and this has been going on for ages," you can say something like, "You've been carrying this for a long time." Or, "I just, no matter what I do, it just it just feels like it's never going to get there." So you might respond with, "It really feels like nothing works." Or, "I've done everything possible and I'm worn out." So you might reply with, "You've tried everything and it's exhausting." So these are your first sentence out of the 3 is a sentence that encapsulates the essence of what that person's problem is, in a way that says, "I hear you, I see you, I witness you, and I'm with you." And in doing this, and it's quite, I remember, wow, it's going back when I first started any sort of counseling training whatsoever. I did the introduction to counseling with the company I was working for. It's a 10-week course. And after the first session, being the good therapists we were, we all went up to the pub because we'd all just finished shift. And we were in there and we'd been taught basically listening and just this framing back, this summing up and offering that sentence back. And I can't remember how it happened, but somebody caught wind that we'd all been doing this. And before long, almost everyone in the pub had problems and was chatting to us. And just literally the connection you can build by not, you're not here trying to fix, you're not here trying to give advice. You're literally listening and then summing up where that person's at and what's been going on for them in a sentence. Cheers, V. Thank you. Um, it's been going on a long time and you just don't know how you can carry on. That kind of sentence when you're listening. Um, but it builds rapport, it builds a connection. People can trust really quickly once they think you're listening, and it's amazing actually how quickly, even in the most bizarre of situations, like in a pub, how suddenly all people will start opening up and talking about all their stuff just by using this paced sentence of, mirroring their belief, what they're feeling, where they're stuck. Yeah. Sometimes you'll do it and they won't have realized. I remember sitting with a client once and he sat down. He had no problem pouring out all this stuff. Um, and I just sat there and went, "It sounds like you've been really pushing really hard. but possibly in the wrong way. So it's not been working for you. And he was a business bloke, and he was like, and he just burst out laughing and went, "Oh my God, yeah, that's actually what it is." So caught up in it, I've been pushing and pushing, and I've just not been seeing it. But actually, I've been pushing the effort into the wrong areas, haven't I? And he just, that one sentence unraveled the whole situation for him. Yeah, and that's the kind of thing we're looking at. Um, so what we're going to do, we're going to do go into breakout rooms, person A and person B. So person A will share a stuck phrase or a problematic phrase. So it might be something like, oh, and this can be real or you can just make it up. It doesn't have to be for the sense of practice, it doesn't have to be a genuine thing you're stuck with, although if you want to, obviously, you can. So it might be something like, you up? No? Okay. Um, so yeah. Ah, it's Sally. There we go. I was wondering what was going on there. Let's just do get that there. Fabulous. Um, so yeah, so person A shares a stuck phrase like, I've been really trying hard to get that promotion, but no matter what I do, I just never seem to get there. Or I've been working really hard at learning to play the xylophone, and I'm just, no matter how much I do, I just don't think I can get any better. Oh, Susan's made it. Um, So person A will do that. Person B, you're going to be listening and you're going to reply with a single sentence that paces their experience, that sums it up. So, I've been trying to practice juggling whilst playing the xylophone, and no matter how I do it, I just can't see myself ever improving. So you might reply with, you've been putting a lot of effort into learning this xylophone and juggling, but it just feels like you're not moving forward. Yeah. Just simple. Person A drop a couple of different phrases, different scenarios. Let person B reply with that single sentence that sums up and paces that experience, and then switch over. Does that make sense? Hello, Susan. I know you've just arrived.
Hello.
Just about to go to breakup room. Basically, person A is going to describe a situation, made up or not, where they feel stuck, struggling with something. Yeah. As the person that listens, you're going to listen and then you're going to pace what they say. And by that mean you come up with one sentence that sums up what their struggle is and where they're at. Yeah, we're looking at three sentences that can help people change. So I will sort the breakout rooms. Um, where are it's moved again? Oh, it's because I know why it's moved again because I pressed a button that said reset to default order. Last time I was on. Where are we? There's one, two, three, four, five. So we need three rooms. I won't know where we're going. So let's. Oh, hang on. No, that's not going to. It's one of those. Technology is right. So let's go and let's. Right, this should work now. It is working. See, I will be joining one of you. So I will. Don't need. So you've had a go, and the one thing everyone's noticed. Oh, where's we? Yeah, where's the others? I've like told you, food.
There's a gremlin in the system.
It's proper. There we go. There we go. There's Anne and Fiona. And so that sums up our session today. I hope you've enjoyed that. And it's no, that was me kind of just I need to pin again, otherwise you're going to get everybody's faces appearing. There we go. Um, So you've all had a go at that, and you've all pretty well mentioned, it's like kind of something we do naturally anyway. It is just natural. And when we bring it together, it just, it unlocks things that that are really useful. Notice how it feels when somebody says that to you. When somebody actually kind of goes, "Oh, so it sounds like, you've been trying really hard, but it's tiring for you." Do you feel valued? Do you feel listened to? Um, how does it feel? Does it encourage you? Do you warm? Do you open up? Does it make you want to talk more? Um, and make something up. Say something along the lines of, I've been trying to juggle rabbits for 6 months, and no matter how hard I try, it just doesn't work.
I've been worrying about a rabbit for the last 6 months on health wise, trying to make sure she's fit, carry on being fit and healthy.
Okay, so you've been carrying that for quite a while, and that's obviously been a big worry for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What if I'd turned around and gone, "That's nice." That's why I said make something up because I wouldn't have felt so bad. There's no way I could have just turned around and said straight away, "That's nice," because I know you've been worrying about the rabbit. So it invites warmth, it invites connection, it invites people to open up and talk. So our second um second part of this now then is and Sally asked, "What's disrupt?" Disrupt is a little bit of gentle turbulence. It disrupts the belief loop, not with a challenge, but with either curiosity. This is why I've done this because it echoes a little bit what we did last week. Curiosity, absurdity, or surprise. You're basically taking the frame that the person has presented their experience in, and giving it a bit of a wobble, just enough for it to free up a bit, just enough to create space. So, say you'd said, Anne, about juggling rabbits, I might say, "Is that true or just something you've repeated long enough to believe?" Or I might say something like, someone goes, "Oh, you know what? I'm really struggling at work. I have no confidence at the moment." And you may say, "Okay, so you're struggling at work and you've got no confidence, or maybe that's not even the right problem." Or you might say something like, "Oh, I've been carrying this for so long. I'm really exhausted, and it's been a real struggle." And you go, "So this has been a real struggle for you, and yet somehow you are still here, still standing." So these are gentle curiosities. You can be a bit ridiculous. Um, you might say something along the lines of, um, someone goes, "Oh, I've been trying to give up chocolate, but it's really, really difficult." And you kind of say something like, "Is it really difficult for you to give up chocolate or the chocolate to give up you?" Which is stupid because obviously chocolate doesn't have to give up you, but it's enough to kind of go, "What?" within that framework, within that belief. And that's it. Yeah. Just a little shake up, just a little after the pace, a follow-up sentence that makes them stop within that frame and go, "What?" Opens up enough space. Um, you might be, um, I can't go to that shop anymore because I've looked at every single thing they've got and there's nothing right for me. Oh, really? Wow, that's amazing. So if there's nothing right for you, what's left for you in that shop? I mean, that's nonsense. But it's again enough for someone to go, "Hang on a minute." We might go, "Really? Everything they've ever sold? Wow." Um, so we'll break out room again. We'll mix them up. Um, Partner A, share your stuck phrase. Partner B, just drop in the disruptive sentence. Yeah. drop in a disruptive sentence, something that's light, surprising, curious, can be a bit daft. The only thing I'd say, if you go for something that's a bit daft, obviously you've got to be sensitive to the situation. Um, if it's something that somebody's quite emotionally tied up in, then a kind of daft response could be seen to be a bit flippant and disrespectful. But with the right person and the right situation, a bit of a silly statement, a silly disruptive sentence can be enough to nudge that person forward. So we'll break out into the rooms. Person A, he's going to go, this is my stuck thing. Person B is going to respond with that kind of uh, disruptive sentence. When you're doing these, notice how it feels to be the person who receives that sentence. So if you're the one sharing your stuckness, how does it feel once, what's it do to your thinking? How does it make you feel about that situation when you have that fed back to you? Um, and person B, who's dropping in that disruptive sentence, just notice the person's response. Do they stop and just kind of zone out a minute? Because if they do, that's kind of what you're wanting, because it means they've just gone in and that's starting to question that belief or that frame that's keeping them stuck. So let me sort the breakout rooms. Because it's intelligent, Zoom has now instantly put the thing where I can find it again. Recreate. I'm going to do that again because it's there we go. And I will see you. Where's the last bit? I was going to do two more breakout rooms, but I'm aware that time is getting close. So what I'm going to do is combine the last two parts together, because it's basically is the third sentence and then putting it all together. So you might as well learn about the third sentence and then put it all together rather than a separate breakout room for it. So we've paced, we've we've built that rapport, we've let that person know we're seeing them and we're listening to them. We disrupt the belief, the idea, and I have dropped into the Facebook group some more um, things like, is that a truth or just a well-practiced thought? Has it always been that way or just often enough that you feel like it has? You're clearly doing a great job of surviving it. Maybe that's the real pattern. Isn't it interesting how certain you've become about uncertainty? I like that one. Um, how old is that? When exactly did it become forever? That's a good one. Oh, it's been like this forever. Well, when exactly? I mean, that's going back. When exactly? Some of these are quite cheeky, but they're quite fun. If you watch Tony Robbins, you'll see him use these a lot, where he'll just drop in that gentle thing that shakes up that idea. What if this, someone goes, oh, I'm never going to get to that place I want to get. I'm just wondering, what if that stopped being true 10 minutes ago and no one's told you yet? Suddenly they've got to explore that possibility that what they've said is not true. Um, what's underneath the version of you that says this out loud? Um, this identity level cracks is a good way of looking at it. So someone's saying, I'm just somebody that nobody likes. You go, well, who were you before you believed that? Or oh, I'm always miserable. And if that part of you is a role, who's the actor beneath it? Um, there's lots of different ones. Again, if you like these, if you like this thing, get a notepad, come up with as many as you can, so you've got them there. Some of them can be a little cheekier. Some of them can be, depending how far you want to push it, a bit more provocative. But then what do we do next? We've paced, we've disrupted. Once we disrupt, the mind goes, ooh, do I believe this? Is that real? Actually, is that how it is? So we've started that questioning process. The mind's opened up. Then we drop some seeds in. Yeah. So we basically seed the possibility of something being different. It's not a sentence. It doesn't that fixes. We're not in this to fix someone like I've got the answer and I'm sorting you out. It's a terrible way to approach things. Um, it's inviting. It offers a different door that that person can walk through if they're ready. And that's the big thing. If they're not ready, it'll just be a conversation. That's the beauty of this because it's so conversational. It's ridiculous. Um, so if someone goes, "Oh, I'm really stuck with work and not knowing what to do at the moment," and so maybe you change it. So okay. So what if that belief that you're stuck ended 10 minutes ago? How would that be for you now? And I start thinking, and then you go, okay. So what becomes possible when that starts to shift? Nice little presupposition in there because it's when that starts to shift, not if. If would get no response. So what becomes possible when that starts to shift? Um, what would change if this wasn't yours to carry anymore? I've been carrying this worry for so long. It's just dragging me down. What would change if this wasn't yours to carry anymore? Um, and if something new wanted to begin here, what might it be? I just don't know what to do with my life. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. I believe that there's nothing out there for me. Wow. How long have you been practicing that belief? Oh, well, So what happens if you stop practicing that belief? And the seed, just that seed thought of stop practicing that belief. You could see it as a suggestion. If you were doing more direct hypnosis, you'd be like, and in a moment when I'm going to do it a bit stagey, in a moment when I click my finger, that belief that you used to have will fall away and you can begin to wonder what will happen now that you believe you can do this. And you'd be very direct with that. Whereas this, it's conversational. So you're not going to be repeating something over and over again. Um, I just had a thought. So Sally mentioned the flat cake thing, and I just had one popped into my head. So what if cakes are your way of flat cakes are your way of rebelling against perfectionism? I think is rather wonderful. Um, so different types of seed sentences. What might change if this stopped being your whole story? Where does the shift begin, even if it's subtle? What happens when this version of you starts to loosen? What would it be like to live without that weight? What might already be rising beneath the part that still feels stuck? Or what is that that's rising beneath the part that feels stuck? Is a good one. You can use seed thoughts to access inner resources. So if someone goes, I'm really stuck with this and I really just don't know what to do, and I believe that the answer isn't in my hands. And it's like, wow, you're really good at holding on to that belief. But what does the wiser part of you already know about this? Or, if you had one quiet instinct in your corner, what would it whisper right now? Where is the part of you that's ready for something different? Identity expansion. So if someone's kind of looking at themselves in a limited way, expand them out with us. See that who are you becoming? Who are you becoming now that you've started letting go of that story? If it's something about a belief, I really believe this isn't, it's not going to change. Is this a belief? If this belief's borrowed, what would your truth sound like instead? Yeah. Future pacing lightly. When you look back on this in 6 months' time from now, what will surprise you most? What becomes possible next once this begins to shift? Yeah. So we're going to bring it all together. One person is going to be stuck. They're going to come out with their stuck statement. Second person is going to pace them. So um, I've been juggling hamsters all my life and I just don't think I enjoy it anymore. Wow, it sounds like you've lost your love of juggling hamsters. Um, where did you, Where did you leave that? If you were to pick that up again, how would it feel in 6 months' time? Yeah? Pace, disrupt, plant a seed. And I will put some more up in the Facebook group for you to look at. Um, but for now, we'll get into the breakout rooms, have a go, and let's just do one of those. No, it hasn't done anything. Still hasn't done anything. Technology is not my friend tonight, is it? Ba-ba-ba. There we go. And pace, disrupt, plant a seed. Have a go. And then swap round once you've done it, obviously. No, it's not. Let's just get the last little bit done. So, not necessarily now, although if you do want to share anything from the exercises and the practices, we can. Um, but as you're thinking back over this session and that whole process, just think about when you were the one who was sharing that stuck thing. Obviously, if it was a personal thing, you're probably going to notice this more than if you were making it up. But what landed, what shifted, what surprised you in that process? Give it some thought, because as well as learning the stuff and doing it and going, oh yeah, that works, I can see how that works. This whole journey of the whole year is also about how learning this stuff shifts and changes things for you. And so always check in after a session with yourself and or a day out the next day and go, what felt good? What worked? How am I feeling after taking that on board? Change does not always arrive in long explanations. Um, One of the worst things we can ever do if someone's got a problem is sit there and start trying to fix them and give them all the answers, because your answers aren't their answers. I really truly believe when it comes to helping anyone that given the right space, they know the way out. They have the resources to get out. They just need somebody to sit with them and hold them in that space whilst they do it. And this way of working gives us a way of helping them explore the resources they've got without kind of controlling and telling them, you need to do this, you need to, why haven't you done this? What do you mean you're miserable and you haven't done, why haven't you changed this? Well, because you know what? That might seem easy to us, but to them, um, sometimes change literally can come in a sentence that says, you're not alone. The way it looks now is not the complete truth, and you are more than you thought. Pace, disrupt, a seed thought. When you put all this together just with those three sentences and do a bit of practice with it and start using it anywhere you find an opportunity, you're starting to use change work with elegance. It's minimalistic and it's coming from a place of wanting to support someone. And that makes it a rather beautiful thing, I think. So let me just